Apple is the most valuable brand in the world. The iPhone maker became the first company in history to reach a market value of over $3 trillion. Apple is not only famous for its iPhones, but also for its numerous legal battles and a long list of lawsuits. And with as much money as Apple has, they can afford to sue literally everyone over literally anything. According to a report by the Tech Transparency Project, between 2019 and 2021, Apple filed more lawsuits over alleged intellectual property violations than Microsoft, Google, Facebook, and Amazon combined. Alleged because, as you'll soon see, many of these lawsuits were simply unfounded and should never have occurred. In today's episode, I invite you to a compilation of the 10 most absurd things Apple has sued others over. Number 10. Apple filed a lawsuit against the Swiss company Fruit Union Suisse. The reason was that the company uses an image of an apple in its logo, which allegedly infringes on Apple's intellectual property. Never mind that the company has been on the market for 111 years, more than twice as long as Apple, and has been using its Apple logo consistently since its inception. And never mind that the company is, in fact, the largest organization representing Swiss fruit growers, meaning, unlike Apple, it actually deals with apples. As the director of Fruit Union Suisse commented on the situation, "It's not like they're trying to protect their bitten apple. Their objective here is really to own the rights to an actual apple." Number 9. Even a Polish company cannot find peace from Apple. In 2012, Apple filed a request with the Polish Patent Office to invalidate the trademark of the online store .pl. This time, however, it wasn't about the appearance, but the sound. According to Apple, the name .pl sounds too similar to their brand, thus taking advantage of their reputation and potentially misleading customers. A year later, in 2013, Apple targeted another Polish online store, Fresh24. In this case, the issue was a graphic logo depicting an apple with a leaf pointing to the right. Both complaints were rejected by the Polish Patent Office, deeming them unfounded. Number 8. However, this did not discourage the American giant from continuing to push its way into the Polish market. This time, Apple targeted the owner of the website ap.pl, accusing them of too much phonetic similarity and demanding the free surrender of the domain. When the owner refused, they received a lawsuit from Apple consisting of as many as 600 pages. The website ap.pl hosted an online store offering sales and service of phones, including Apple products. And although it might have seemed that Apple had a chance to win the dispute this time, the arbitration court for internet domain cases ruled that the domain ap.pl did not infringe on Apple's rights. Number 7. In 2020, the tech giant's lawyers filed yet another lawsuit. This time, the target was a small Canadian startup, Prepare, which created a mobile app for planning shopping lists and sharing recipes. Apple demanded that the small company abandon its logo featuring a pear, claiming it allegedly threatened Apple's intellectual property. The logo was said to potentially confuse customers, who might mistake it for Apple's logo, thus damaging its brand image. The developers of Prepare were terrified, emphasizing that their team only consisted of 5 people and they couldn't afford the incredibly costly legal battles with a giant worth hundreds of billions of dollars. They even launched a special petition on change.org, urging Apple to stop harassing companies with logos related to fruits. The petition was signed by over 269,000 internet users. Number 6. Frankie Pineapple is a female independent artist who is listened to by only 17 people per month on Spotify. Yes, Apple decided to sue her when she attempted to register her stage name, which, after all, contains the word apple. As the American company argued, both names are names of fruits and therefore give a similar commercial impression. The name pineapple is too similar to apple and thus could harm the company's reputation. Number 5. In 2008, the authorities in New York launched a new pro-environmental campaign, encouraging residents, among other things, to save energy. Apple certainly didn't hold back on energy at that time, as it didn't like that the campaign's logo featured a green apple. The choice of the apple was quite obvious, given that New York has been known as the Big Apple for over 100 years. However, according to Apple, New York was infringing on their trademark, confusing consumers, and seriously damaging the company's reputation. Number 4. In 2019, Apple filed an official objection against a Norwegian political party. As usual, the logo of the so-called Progress Party was alleged to be too similar to Apple's logo, According to Apple, the political party's logo could be mistaken for its own trademark logo. However, as seen on their official website, the party didn't seem too concerned about Apple's complaints. Number 3. As it turns out, not all of Apple's lawsuits are about visual identity. In 2017, Apple filed a lawsuit against the watchmaker Swatch, claiming that the slogan "Think Different," promoting its new smartwatches, was too similar to Apple's former slogan, "Think Different." Apple filed the lawsuit. However, the Swiss court ruled that Apple's slogan was not well known enough in Switzerland to warrant protection. A special survey was even conducted to check what percentage of Swiss people would associate the phrase "Think Different" with Apple. Unfortunately, it was less than the required 50% set by the court. The CEO of Swatch assured that the "Think Different" slogan was based on one from the 1980s. Always different, always new. Interestingly, this wasn't the only time Apple claimed that Swatch had copied from them. In 2015, the slogan was alleged to be "One More Think," a phrase frequently spoken by Steve Jobs during conferences. By the way, do you know why the Apple Watch is called Apple Watch and not iWatch, like its other products, such as the iPhone, iPad, or iMac? Because the name iWatch was already registered by other companies in many countries. In Switzerland, Apple also failed to trademark the name iWatch because it was too similar to an already existing name, Iswatch, ironically owned by the company Swatch. And one more interesting fact from Switzerland. In 2012, Apple had to pay as much as $21 million after it was revealed that the new clock in iOS 6 was a direct copy of the clock used by the Swiss Federal Railways. This case from 2011 is particularly funny because Apple sued a company for having a logo that was too similar, a company that Samsung's LG should have been the one to sue instead. The Chinese company received a letter from Apple demanding the removal of the leaf visible at the top of the logo. As the company's CEO commented, "While it's clear that the leaf at the top could suggest it's an apple, the logo also includes two Chinese characters. The positioning and shape are also different." Number 1. In February of last year, Apple sued a Ukrainian director for having the audacity to name his film Appleman. Appleman is an independent film that raised around $120,000 for its production on Kickstarter. Contrary to what one might think, the film has nothing to do with the tech giant or even technology itself. Appleman is a comedy that parodies superheroes, where the titular character has the power to make apples levitate. In a 467-page lawsuit, Apple expressed concerns that consumers would likely believe that Appleman is associated with, approved by, or produced by Apple. The film's director lamented that his movie is solely about apples and fruits, and because of Apple, he will have to spend almost all the money from Kickstarter on legal proceedings. Okay, with that costly note, like McDonald's rings, we conclude today's episode. If you've made it to the end and would like more, leave a comment.